I'm damn sure that there's nothing going on in my head other than what is allowed by the laws of nature as we understand them. You might believe in ghosts and things like that. I mean, look at a ghost. I mean, it is something that carries the imprint of you, presumably. It looks like you.
Quantum computers have found there isn't just one you, but many versions of you, living different lives right now. Famous scientist Brian Cox gave a scary warning that shook people up about what this could mean. Every small choice you make might split reality into countless new worlds, each with another you. Tune in closely because one of these tests just changed what happened in the past. And it involves you, the cat that was alive and dead at once. This isn't some movie script or comic book thing. This idea comes straight from the math these scientists use. The numbers say the world might not be locked into just one version. Everything you do, every tiny moment, might be causing a split, like a fork in the road, but invisible. One version of you picked the red shirt, another picked the blue. One skipped breakfast, another made pancakes. Doesn't sound that big, right? But over time, it adds up to completely different lives. And somewhere deep in mathematics, there's a clue that changes everything we knew about reality. Back in the old days, folks thought the world was simple. You roll a ball, it goes that way. Drop something, it falls. Everything followed rules you could count on. Scientists could guess where the moon would be in a week or what a cannonball would do in the air. That was the classic view. One path, one outcome, no funny business. But then came quantum mechanics, and it smashed that picture like a brick through glass. Turns out, when you zoom in small enough, the rules go all wobbly. Tiny stuff, like particles, don't act like they're supposed to. Instead of being here or there, they can kind of be both until someone checks. That's not a joke. They tested it, like when they shot electrons at a wall with two slits in it, and those little guys acted like waves. They went through both slits at the same time, until someone watched. Then they snapped back to normal and picked a side. It's like the act of looking forced reality to make up its mind, which makes you wonder, is everything like that? Do things only settle down once we pay attention? Think about this for a second. If the tiniest things can be in more than one state, could bigger things do it too? Could you be in more than one place, living more than one life, all at the same time? This is where it gets spooky. A long time ago, a scientist came up with a story to show just how weird this stuff is. He imagined a cat in a box. Inside that box, there's something radioactive and some poison. If the radioactive stuff breaks down, the poison is released. If not, the cat stays fine. But here's the trick. Until someone opens the box, the cat is both alive and not. Not just maybe, both, at the same time. It sounds wild, but it makes a point. At the quantum level, things don't choose a path until they're measured. Now, what if that same idea stretches up to people? Like every time you make a choice, there's a version of you that made the other one. One took the job, one turned it down. One stayed quiet, one spoke up. Each time the world splits just a bit. That's the idea behind what they call the many worlds theory. A scientist in the year 1957 looked at all this and said maybe the world doesn't pick just one outcome. Maybe all the outcomes happen. They just go their separate ways, different timelines, all playing out at once. You don't notice because you're stuck in one branch, but the others are still real, just out of reach. But if all these versions are real, things are about to get even wilder. The invisible map of infinite lives. This idea is huge. Imagine that every little quantum event creates another version of reality. Then there wouldn't be a few copies of you. There'd be a nearly endless amount. Some nearly the same, others totally wild. One version might be rich and famous. One might be living a quiet life in the woods. Another never made it past kindergarten. And none of them are fake. That's the kicker. They're all real. They just don't overlap. You can't meet them, can't hop between them. But they're out there marching forward. Now here's where it gets extra weird. If there are tons of you, which one is the real one? The one you feel right now? Or are they all just as real, just as valid? Quantum mechanics says your sense of self might just be a point in a much bigger map. Every choice you make pins you to one spot, while other versions of you keep going on their own routes. Even now, there's a version of you who said no to something big. Another version said yes. One might have taken a different path completely. It's not just a thought puzzle. It touches the core of how we see ourselves. Are we one being, or just the version that ended up on this trail? And the scientists, they can't even agree on what this all means. They've got a bunch of ideas, but no proof for any of them. One group says nothing is real until you look at it, that the world is just maybes until someone checks. Another group says everything that can happen does, in separate lines. A third group thinks there's a hidden pattern underneath it all, something we haven't found yet. There's one take that says reality is just probabilities until someone measures something, that measuring forces a decision. But nobody knows what counts as measuring. Does it have to be a person, a machine, a tree falling on a sensor? Nobody can say for sure. Another idea says reality never makes that decision. Instead, everything plays out. All the options become real, each one in a new universe. You never notice because you only live one at a time. That's the many worlds theory. It doesn't need any outside force to choose. Everything just happens. Then there's a third theory. It says everything is still following rules, but those rules are hidden. The randomness only looks like randomness because we don't see the full picture. Like a card trick where the deck is rigged, but we don't know it. If we could see the hidden rules, everything would make sense again. But those rules haven't shown up in any lab. Even with all this mystery, scientists are building machines using these ideas. They use them to guide signals from satellites, scan inside bodies, and even design new kinds of computers that work on particles. That part is solid. The tech works, but the why behind it is still fuzzy. Yet even with all this strangeness, scientists aren't any closer to settling the debate. If all paths exist, do you matter? Some folks say every time something happens, the entire universe splits in two. Like you pick cereal instead of toast? That means there is a whole other world where you pick toast. Every tiny moment that could go a different way does go a different way somewhere else. That is the many world story. But here is the big problem. No matter how many tests scientists run, they cannot prove that version is right. And here's the strange part. All the other ideas out there, the ones with invisible forces or ones that say reality changes when you check it, also pass every single test. They all match the numbers. That is the real mess. People have tried the strangest experiments to find a winner. They have set up tests where particles go through slits and act like waves or dots depending on whether we are looking. They have built setups where someone makes a choice after something already happened, and that choice still somehow changes the past. There are even tests showing that two things extremely far apart still act like they are connected instantly. That kind of thing breaks all the regular rules, but none of it has cleared anything up. If anything, it made the whole thing worse. The deeper the test, the weirder the results. One group thinks the many world story is the only one that makes any sense. Another group says we are missing some hidden rule that no one has found yet. And then there are people who believe the entire argument is built on the wrong idea. Maybe reality is not even a real thing until we look at it. Maybe the world is just a giant game of guessing, where what we expect to see shapes what we actually see. There is an idea called quantum Bayesianism. People call it cubism, but it has nothing to do with art. It says maybe we have been asking the wrong question the entire time. Maybe the math is not talking about the real world at all. Maybe it is just helping us organize our guesses. Not because reality is one set thing, but because we cannot know everything at once. It is a tool for managing what we think might happen. With this idea, the wave stuff in the math is not even real. It is just a way to track what we believe. When something happens, it is not the universe changing. It is just us changing what we think. That flips the whole idea of science upside down. Now, it is not about what exists, but about what can be known. Reality in this view is not out there waiting. It is inside our expectations, changing depending on who is watching and what they are trying to figure out. Every time you measure something, you are not finding the truth. You are just updating your version of it. This brings up something even stranger. If every single choice you make might happen in some other version of the world, then who are you really? Are you the person who took the job offer or the one who said no? Are both versions of you real? And if your life is just one tiny path in a giant tangled net of other paths, is anything you do actually special or unique? These questions have been chewing on the sharpest minds for almost 100 years. Not because the data is bad, the data is extremely good. The problem is all the stories match the same data. Imagine playing a game where every person follows different rules, but still ends up winning. That is the kind of thing scientists are dealing with. They have made machines to peek without touching. They have done tests where measuring something now seems to change what happened earlier. Still, nothing proves which story is the right one. Every test just opens up more strange questions. Does time move backwards sometimes? Does stuff only exist when someone checks? Is there something hidden under all of this that nobody can see? It only gets weirder. If there are endless versions of you, what makes this one matter? Maybe nothing does. Or maybe it is just the fact that you are the one experiencing it now. Not because you are special, but because it is yours. If the universe splits every time you make a choice, then you are not just one person. You are a whole tree of people, each living out a different path. If every version of you is real, which one is the true you? Let us know in the comments, like if it made you think, and subscribe for more.